Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Demon and I are joined by Overpow from Team Rocket. Wait. We saw that Mordekaiser and it was fantastic. Tell me what led you to pick him.
Just a fun hero. I don't know what to say. Like it works against Moob's champions pools. So yeah, why not?
So that's actually something that you guys mentioned in the feature beforehand. You talked about how Super Hot Crew's champion pool is quite limited. So did you know ahead of time, obviously, what you were going to counter? You kind of knew what you were angling them in towards picks-wise? Do you know what they're... Obviously, did you expect the Shyvana jungle, the top lane Mundo, the mid lane Morgana? These are all kind of picks that everybody knows that Super Hot Crew play.
Yeah, we expected all the picks, which they picked. We expect kind of Ziggs, not Morgana, but yeah, we kind of expected Morgana as well, so it worked pretty well for us.
Tell me a little bit about the mind games during that champion select, because last week, you beat them with Pantheon mid, the Super Hot Crew. Was that a factor in that picks and bans? Like, we might bait him out if we do this.
Of course, it was our little secret to pick the Pantheon for the jungle. But since America picked Pantheon for jungle, we thought they might think it's actually jungle Pantheon.
So let's talk about the turn of the game, because it seemed that obviously Jankos was taking his time at the start, didn't really have too many ganks with the Pantheon, which you would normally expect. Instead, towards the end of the game, were you surprised when you were so far ahead that they were pushing down that mid? Because it just left it open for you guys to jump on them.
We wanted them to jump on us in the late game because we can just Deathfire Grass, my ulti as Mordekaiser, and everything in one target so we can get the clone. And then if we get the clone, then it's easy win for us, I think.
But effectively, you didn't even get the clone off that many times. It wasn't really necessary. And I know I asked you in the beginning, but I do want to know a little bit more about how you played out Mordekaiser and how you want to build it and what is necessary for you to get rolling in a game.
Just farm as much as you can.
And of course, obviously, you know, you're 4-1 now in the LCS. But as we just said off camera, you haven't yet played Gambit. You're playing them tomorrow. What are you expecting from these guys? Are these teams you're fearful of, or are you just thinking, we're pretty confident now in the LCS?
I expect to lose against Fnatic. But I expect we're going to win against Gambit. But yeah, against Fnatic, it's going to be a tough one game.
Well, we will see, of course. And for now, we're going to hear what the fans have to say on Twitter. Of course, earlier in the show, we asked you which champion was the most exciting to see during week 1 of the EU LCS and why. And luckily, we have Overpow here because Rocket has been playing some crazy things themselves. But the first answer is from @I'mNeverial. LeBlanc was so interesting because she is so volatile and skillful, so much potential, but so fragile. It's like an art. Get fed or feed. What's your opinion on LeBlanc?
I don't like her. Too many skill shots, you have to think too much while you play her.
Yeah, and she's not done that well either. I mean, you think of every time she's been played so far in the LCS, other than Bjergsen in North America, who, well, in fairness, did some very good plays. But,
I thought you were going to say something else.
It's another European player doing well. What can I say?
The second tweet is from @VultuxLol. The Galio pick was the first real demonstration of how the support changes have opened up new options for the bottom lane. Of course, it was N-rated pulling out that Galio.
Yeah, and Trevor said it at the start of the show. That was actually one of his plays. And what do you make? I mean, have you seen, has Vander ever thought, hey guys, I want to pull out Galio? Was that something you guys would actually accept?
We will never let him Galio support.
The last tweet is from @LolRyu Kurogain. Trundle was a break from the normal in the ULCS, and I hope to see more of him to take a bite out of the super tank meta, and maybe with the changes to Shyvana, and he might be something that we'll see a lot more.
Yeah, Trundle definitely was a champion that worked well, and actually it's something they took off Cloud9 EU, who've become Cloud9 Haprix or whatever they are. They're going to be playing later on in the week. But it was a great champion choice. I mean, have you guys ever thought about Trundle in the top lane? Is it something that Zazas has maybe won? Because obviously he's played Renekton pretty much every game so far.
Trundle is really good against most of the top laners right now, but he's kind of bad against Renekton. We tried Trundle.
People getting excited.
Yeah, okay. With Rider, Trundle works pretty good against Mundo, Shyvana, and some other champions, I don't remember, but it's really bad against Renekton, so we didn't want to pick this game, but I think you can expect some triangle picks.
Okay, well, very interesting. Thank you very much. Those were some great answers. And of course, we'd love to hear more. Remember to follow us at LOL Esports and use that hashtag LCS. And now it's time to send things over to Joe and his young Padawan Deficio at the caster desk, where the Force is with them. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Shocks. I'm Joe Jabba the Hot Miller, and I'm happy to be joined here by Martin Deficio Lunge here in Cologne.
Thank you, Joe. And we would love to have you guys join us here in our studio audience. To find out how, head to lolesports.com and click on the tickets link at the top of the page.
Well, it's time to get into our third match of the day, to begin with the Copenhagen Wolves taking on Millennium. Now, last year Millennium just missed out qualifying for Worlds and have had a pretty rough start to the 2014 season. However, Aranea and crew remain hyper-focused on bringing it back.
And it's going to be alternate, going 5-0 in the European Summer Split. They are the top of the table, and they looked dominant right there.
5-0 on DreamHack was like the dream start for us.
I felt like a boss. We won like versus everyone in pretty confident way, so we were really happy.
We just wanted to be as good as possible. So when we saw that they went 5-0 the first week, we felt that we couldn't go to Worlds.
But after that, like our mid laner for Lord, he went on vacations for like 1 week or something like that, or almost 10 days. And then like Kriton broke his hand, unfortunately, and we had to play without our start.
It sucked, it just sucked. Like, I still can't believe how it happened. I don't know even what to say, because like I'm just speechless when it comes to my hand.
I'm pretty sure we would have ended the top 4 last season for sure if we didn't have those issues.
100% sure. We will make for Worlds if Kriton didn't break his hand and Frollo didn't went on vacations.
The Battle of the Atlantic sways the next way to the even, and it looks like it is going to be taken by alternate here in the second game. 2 clean sweep against CLG. Alternate upsets, I'd have to say. CLG 2-0.
In Battle of Atlantic it was fun because it's the few times you can actually play teams from other regions.
Definitely that gave us confidence to join the LCS like stronger.
Of course it helps because it's the first time we play together on offline and we win.
But still, like LCS is another world, LCS is another season, and we have to focus so much on every single game right now.
Millennium, the team that were formerly known as Ultimate, vying for the spring split crown.
And that is going to be Fnatic taking the game against Millennium.
They go 1-3. This is their last game now for week 1. I think they can take a lot away from that game.
I felt you could go 2-2 at least in the first week, so maybe a little bit disappointing.
We had the strongest opponents, in my opinion, Fnatic and Gambit, and we actually got surprised by Rocket. But I still think that we played really good, and we're gonna do better and better within weeks.
Our goals is still the same. I think in the end we can still get top 3, but we need to work on the stuff we did badly this weekend.
I think it was Lemon Dogs who went like 1-4 or 2-3 or something like that, and they ended up winning the summer split.
As you can see, in the end, it doesn't matter how you start, but how you finish.
Some wise words there maybe coming out of Kriton at the end. It's not really how you start the season, but how you finish it.
I mean, yeah, that is true. Perfect words.
Well, we'll see if they can change things around in this one. Of course, it is Millennium taking on the Copenhagen Wolves here next. We're going to start with the Copenhagen Wolves on the blue side. They currently sit 2-2 with a win versus Alliance and Rocket. However, 2 losses to the names against Gambit and SK Gaming.
And when I look at this Copenhagen Wolves lineup, I mean, obviously I have to put in the I love Copenhagen Wolves one, but when I look at this lineup here, Amazing is the guy who stands out for me. It's a lineup though without any superstar itself, but they're just all very good players. They work together well, but Amazing is like one of the most important ones. Generally, junglers right now, they need to have the good early game, they need to put pressure in the lane, they need to help everyone, you know, transition into the mid game. And right now, Amazing, when he's been playing Lee Sin and Elise, the early game junglers, Copenhagen Wolves actually win the games.
Yeah, and actually struggled if you look at the other side of that one with the likes of Olaf and Vi, the more team fight-based champions there in the jungle as well. And has, over the 4 games, picked 4 different junglers as well, showing the variety that he has.
Generally, Copenhagen Wolves has a very big champion pool for every one of their members. Kautat as well has 4 different champions played in the 4 first games. So it shows that at least they know exactly what they want to play, and they're also not afraid of expanding it a little bit, and it makes it very hard for the enemy team to do something against them in the champ select. And again, with Amazing and his 4 different champions though, I have to criticize a little bit. Maybe he has actually too little early game junglers, or like early game aggressive junglers. He could potentially have something like, I would say a Sing Sao. It hasn't worked out for Super Crew, but it's not a bad pick. It wouldn't actually surprise me to see him maybe play it.
Well, talk about the bottom lane a little bit for us here. I mean, this is a very aggressive bottom lane, you know, Unlimited and Forgiven. They've done pretty well together so far. I mean, this is the two that really, you know, we look back a little bit and we think obviously at Reckless, the AD carry role, they brought in the man on your screen right now, Forgiven, and to be honest, they're incredibly good.
I mean, it is one of the best bot lanes in my opinion in Europe. Pretty much every game they are ahead, they manage to pick up a kill early, and they're so aggressive, and again, they just think the same way. I talked a little bit with them, and they're like, yeah, we like the same champions, we like the same playstyle, and if we can like avoid getting any jungle help, it's a win for us, and if we can just do 2v2 and try and win that way, we know that Amazing can then go to some of the other lanes and try and help them and get them ahead, so Copenhagen Wolves can snowball the game.
Well, their opponents in this one, of course, are Millennium, who are currently sat 1 for 4. Almost said 3 there, but that, of course, did change in our first game of the day. They picked up the victories against SK Gaming, but have lost then to Gambit, Rocket, and Fnatic, plus that loss that they took, and the first win, actually, of the LCS, obviously, for Alliance.
And now, funny enough with Millennium, it's pretty much the same story every single game for them. The early game is fine, the laning phase is fine, they get out, you know, to the first dragon fight, and then the first dragon fight happens, and things goes wrong. Pretty much every game is the same for them right here. The general team fight, even if you look back at the SK game, when they're 25,000 gold ahead, they actually still didn't even win conventionally before the very last team fight where they managed to end the game. And that game was like 45 or 50 minutes long, just because they couldn't finish or win the fights. So Millennium, for me right now, is in a position where they have to look at the picks they have, and they also have to look at the calling in the fights, and trying to find out why are we losing these fights.
I want to talk about the man in the middle with the trackball, Kerp. You know, he has performed very well so far. I mean, it's hard to say very well when you're 1-4, but at the same time, I think he's been almost the glimmer of hope in some of those games for Millennium.
But that's also the game plan for Millennium. They want Kerp to be fed, and they want him to make plays. So Aranea is using a lot of time and a lot of resources on ganking mid lane. We saw it against Alliance just earlier today when he jumped in on Froggen a few times as well. They want to do everything they can to get Kerp ahead so he can roam around the map with, for instance, LeBlanc and try and do something. At the same time, though, this is what they did in the first split. With, in the last split, with Lord in the start, where he played Lissandra, and they made sure he got ahead early, and then he went around on the map, and he kept making plays, did great engages for the team fights. Maybe they're missing him a little bit, I'm not too sure, but for me, though, even though they are 1-4, Kerp has been doing a fine job.
And to talk about then the top laner, the man that came in that kind of initiated this whole switching of roles, Kevin. We've seen him going into a very much pure tank role in some of these games, in most of these games even. How does that actually affect the team fighting ability of Millennium? And you know, the fact that with him being a pure tank, they maybe don't need to be focusing on him, but the man in the middle, Kerp, who Millennium are putting so much pressure on.
Yeah, I actually think it hurts them a little bit to have Kevin play these champions, because again, they put so much on Kerp, they want him to make the plays, but it's easy for the other teams to target out Kerp and in the team fight and just say, Kevin is playing like Shen or Tank Gragas, we don't care about him. Kreaton is in the backline, we don't care about him right now, let's get Kerp. If they manage to shut down Kerp early in the fight, a lot of the damage from Millennium is gone. So, right now, I think they need to put Kevin on some more either split push heavy champions or more team fight based champions, and they just leave out the pure tanks.
Well, let's have a look to the starting lineups of this one. Starting on the blue side with the Copenhagen Wolves there, of course, Youngbuck in the top lane, Amazing in the jungle, Coutard in the mid lane, Forgiven the AD carry, and Unlimited the support.
And on the red side, it's Millennium with Kevin in the top lane, Aranea in the jungle, Kerb as the mid laner, Kreaton on AD carry, and support is Jerry.
So let's talk about champion select here, because we do have a few crossovers. I think we can say the top lane, obviously, with Siobhan having those hits, the fact that Mundo, Renekton are two very highly contested picks right now.
Definitely, I mean, it will be interesting to see if we're going to get a Trundle, for instance. I could imagine actually Kevin pick up a Trundle, get a bit more presence in the fights. But for me, though, the big, like ban-wise, is going to be towards Curve.
And just to give you a quick note on this one, Millennium actually lose a ban in this game because of Aranea quitting out of their game earlier on against Alliance. So Millennium will only have 2 bans here against the Copenhagen Wolves, just so you guys know why they're not actually banning out here. That's not tactical, unfortunately, for them. But Mundo was the first ban. And actually with 2 bans, that could make them even more important than when you've got 3.
Exactly. I mean, just touching quickly on the Dr. Mundo one, though, he right now stands alone as like the top pick. Because Shyvana was Shyvana Mundo, now Shyvana is nerfed. Nothing happened to Dr. Mundo. He's not changed at all. Except for maybe the Spirit Visage was a slight nerf to him, but it was same for everyone. So right now, Dr. Mundo is just... I expect him to pretty much be gone in every game, or at least picked as one of the first like we've seen before, and without a real counter pick.
Well, we see Annie taken away from J-Re and the Vi from Aranea as well. He's really been liking this Vi play. On the other side, Kale going to be picked off as one of the 2 bans that Millennium have here, and also getting rid of Elise against Amazing. And that left Lee Sin open for first pick.
And now we have the early game jungler on Amazing. We touched about it before, how strong he is in these and how good he is at making Copenhagen will snowball. So Lee Sin for him now, and with Vi gone and with Elise gone, I'm not sure what Aranea is actually going to pick up. Maybe the Pantheon again. He didn't have too much success in the last game, but it's kind of the only early game jungler he has left right now.
I'm interested to see what comes out in these top lane as well, with the fact that Mundo is banned out in that one. Obviously in the middle lane, Kerp has shown already that despite his trackball, he can still move around the map like no other, only Blank here in Europe. I think he's been one of the shining stars that's picked that champion so far. Still obviously a lot to be answered in this one, but seems like we could be going for the AD carry and support the duo lanes here in this one. And actually, Lucian has been played in every single game so far by Forgiven. That's a decent champion to take away from him, therefore.
I'm a bit surprised, though, that they do pick bot lane right now, just full out the bot lane, because Renekton was left open, Copenhagen Wolves now took him, and he's so strong as well now with the Shyvana nerfs. Shyvana was good versus Renekton once you got to like level 9 or 10. Right now, Renekton can hold her even longer than he could before, so he's actually a very strong pick. The bot lane wise, though, for Millennium, is pretty much one of the safest bot lanes you can get, and they do well pretty much the entire game.
And we can see that leaves pretty much you're looking at Caitlyn or Jinx after the Lucian's been taken away. This time around, looks like Copenhagen Wolves going to be picking up that Caitlyn. Now, a pick which actually Forgiven has in the qualifiers in the promo series actually been playing a lot of that Caitlyn as well. Not as if he's any surprise pick for him on that side. And there we see the Pantheon coming in once again for Aranea. We wondered where he was going to go jungle-wise with so many jungle bans pretty much, and certainly champions that he likes to play in the jungle. And also that Shen again for the top lane.
Yeah, they do go for like the same kind of global combo as before. It went alright for them in the first few fights. They had a very good engage around their own tower with Aranea jumping in on Alliance. But that was pretty much it. He didn't really do anything else. And I fear right now that if they do get a 3v3 or 2v2 with Lee Sin versus the Pantheon, that Lee Sin will win out, and that's going to set Aranea behind again and do pretty much the same that happened in the last game where he didn't really get going too well. And now we have the Shen. Shen versus Caitlyn, teamfight wise, is not really much is going to happen. Caitlyn can kill the Shen teamfight wise, but Shen can't really kill Caitlyn either, so that's pretty dead even. Renekton Shen though means Renekton is going to have a free lane, especially in the start. He won't really be able to pick up a kill, but he's going to be able to free farm.
Well, we see Cassidy picked up there, and you have to wonder if that third ban was available for Millennium, whether that may have been a Cassidy taken out, and actually Karma going to be picked up here as well. So what do you think to Millennium here now? I mean, they've got so many options. They went on the whole, the global kind of direction, therefore you might look towards someone, you know, like Ziggs, who is safe in lane and can join in with that whole global thing, but you can see there from the picks that actually they finished off with Talon.
And this is actually really good for Millennium because Talon hard counters Kassadin. And if Kassadin tries to split push late game, Talon will walk up to him, get Shen ulted, and they can finish him up, kill him, and then do something else on the map. But just to touch real quick at the Karma pick, I actually like that because when Pantheon engages on you, you can speed up everyone around you and try and get out of the circle and then survive, you know, the engage from Pantheon. So actually a very smart pick.
Well, we've seen a couple of Karmas coming in here in Europe, mostly actually in the top lane, funnily enough. It was Curb that played her a couple of times last season. Soaz has played Karma a couple of times as well, but I'm going to be seeing her in the support role here today. That Cassidy coming through, as you said, left open from the bans, but if the hard counter's still left up, then why not leave it open anyway?
at least Millennium sees this as a hard counter. They have played against Kassadin before where they had Talon, and I'm 100% sure that they knew when they had the 2 bans, if we want to give one away, it should be the Kassadin one, and we're just going to go with the Talon and see, show that we think this one is going to beat Kassadin. Question is now if Copenhagen Wolves wants to go 2v1 mid versus the Talon to try and, shut him down or make sure that Kassadin is not versus the Talon 1v1. The issue for Kassadin, though, in the side lane, he's very weak.
That was exactly my next question to you, but you already answered it, so we know that one, and obviously the changes going to make that one a little bit interesting as well. But as we load into the game, guys, let's check out who you at home think are going to win this one. And currently sat at 63% of you choosing the Copenhagen Wolves to take victory over Millennium. For me, Deficio, that's probably not too far away if we look at general trends.
Yeah, no, I agree pretty much with this. Copenhagen Wolves comes in as pretty much the favorite. Millennium has been not exactly looking too good. But now they have this counter pick in Talon. We'll see how it works. With the Shen, he can do a lot of risky plays and still get saved by Shen. So this is really going to be the game for Millennium to bounce back.
So here we go then, the Copenhagen Wolves versus Millennium. And as you rightly said, a pretty big game for Millennium. I mean, they are now tied with Alliance down on the bottom of the table. We heard in the video earlier that a strong or even a weak start can always be changed completely by the time you get to the other end of the split. But this looks like we could see a very interesting level 1 play.
Millennium has been doing pretty much disinvade every single game, actually. They want to try and do something level 1. They want to try maybe go in at 130 and get a deep ward on the red buff, or at least try and pick up a kill. We saw EG actually in the NA ping up 2 kills by doing this with Fresh.
Well, we'll have to see, because currently the Copenhagen Wolves are actually over on the complete other side of the map, which may mean that we get some early wards down and a retreat comes in from Millennium, or on the other side, we see some buffs being taken or possibly traded. Still so many questions to be asked, even just 1 minute and 20 seconds into this game. Millennium have now done a full victory lap of that red side of the Copenhagen Wolves jungle, and they're going to exit on the top side.
And Copenhagen Wolves actually pinged up in their top bush in the river because they thought Millennium could be there and try and go in for their blue buff. But Youngbuck went up, he kind of face-checked a little bit, but they went there. Instead, Millennium has actually pretty much gotten nothing out of this. They didn't ward anything, they just walked straight out, and that's it.
That's it, just a bit of a run around, and we say that's it. But the Copenhagen Wolves are now actually making their move through into the Millennium jungle as well. A ward goes down there. Kevin actually waiting inside of the brush, and this is in full vision of Millennium. They know that this one's going on. The question is how Kevin can hold them away, or not hold them away, as the case has been. Amazing he's able to take that red buff. Now it's the question of how fast Aranea can get down to the opposite side of the map.
Getting the red buff, though, from Copenhagen Wolves now for Aranea is not going to be an issue because the bot lane is there. They can go in and help him if something should happen. Renekton cannot move. Instead, though, Unlimited actually face-check on Kevin.
Yeah, going straight in there. And Kevin actually doing a decent amount of damage. He takes a pilt over Peacemaker as well. And Aranea now is starting to head around on towards that red buff. And we see that Amazing on his side of the jungle going to be doing the blue. So it's going to be a bit of a simple trade coming out from this. But I want to touch on the lanes here, because we talked about how patch 4.1 has really changed how the turrets work and how we see these 2v1 lanes working out. How's it going to be affected in this match with this setup that we've got?
Well, Millennium can take down the bottom tower really fast. If they move down Aranea, try a dive, they can actually take down the turret and then maybe rotate for a dragon. Meanwhile, Copenhagen Wolves, they need a lot more time to take this top turret. You do 20 less damage per auto attack on the turret. That is a lot early game. So if Millennium decides to move Aranea down, it doesn't seem like it right now. He's actually just going to farm, which is a bit questionable. I think they should move him down, try the gank. Fresh is really good at diving as well. So a bit weird decision from Aranea here, but that works out for Copenhagen Wolves because they don't have to think about losing the dragon then.
Yeah, the Wolves here continue to hammer away on that turret. Creaton and Jerry going to be doing the same, and the hook comes out, and they see that Amazing has actually come down onto this bottom lane now, and that's going to be kind of forcing the hand of the Copenhagen Wolves if they don't want to lose this turret very early on. Shen, obviously, Kevin up on that top lane. At level 3 right now, so he's not going to be feeling too much under pressure in terms of dying, but certainly it's his tower that he's trying to protect. As finally Millennium get down onto it, and we see again Amazing coming back to protect.
Amazing's there to protect. He knows the target. Oh, we're catching out.
Yeah, RNA are actually coming around to this top side. Unlimited going to speed himself up. There's a great taunt coming down, and Unlimited is going to fall there. First blood coming in for Millennium. It's RNA that gets that one, and I tell you what, with a red buff on, Forgiven might be in trouble as well. He did flash away from the stun, but he did get stunned up at the same time. RNA finally does lose grasp of him, and that will be a 1-for-0. Good start for Millennium.
But Copenhagen will show now actually fight bot lane.
Yeah, Jerry's at half HP, and Amazing putting down a lot of damage onto him at this point. Not sure that he can finish that one off, and Amazing did back away. They both are around at half HP from that one, as is the bot lane of Millennium. A very tense start to this game.
But Copenhagen Wolves must have known Aranea wasn't bot lane because they didn't see him at all. They were actually, the whole wave was at the tower bot, no Aranea. So they must have known he was top lane at this point. Unlimited decides anyway to go in for very risky ward deep inside, and Aranea is there waiting for him and kills him. Bit of a misplay from him, I have to say that.
Well, the turret, funnily enough, in this 2v1 lane now pushed up against the duo lane on that bottom side. Forgiven and Unlimited back in their lane up in top now. We'll be feeling a little bit safer. Unlimited got himself the coin in, along with that Dora and shield. Pretty much exactly what we've been seeing from most supports.
Now look at the builds from Kautard. He knows, he learned from the time he played versus Gambit, where he didn't build any armor versus the Kha'Zix. This time though, he got straight for armor versus Curb, and he will not risk dying at level 6.
So Kautard there did take a bit of burst, and once he gets that level 6 point, he's going to be a lot more mobile. It's going to allow him to move around the map. We talked about that from Curp's point of view, but right now you have to feel that Kautard is the one that's going to be doing that maybe a little bit quicker here. We can see that Kautard just sitting straight back on his tower.
Now, while Aranea did pick up the early kill, he didn't actually do anything to defend the turret, which means that Copenhagen Wolves has been able to poke it all the time, get it really, really low. Millennium, on the other hand, hasn't been able to poke the bot tower at all because of the taunt coming in.
Yep, RNA are actually coming up towards this top lane. Forgiven did get taunted. There's a stun coming down. He's got no flash. Is he going to fall? Actually managing to get pretty far away from them. There's the speed up. There's the spear coming in. The barrier was down as well. So very close, but no kill.
No kill coming in, and they pushed him away from the turret though. This means Millennium right now can try and take down the bot turret. Lee Sin is far away, he's not there to help defending. They will maybe even be able to pick this up.
Yeah, is the chance for Millennium then, already down to half HP, and you can see Creatine and Jerry there both auto-attacking that one out, doing a good job, as we are going to see Curb going in there on towards Kautard. Both got those ultimates available, and it was kind of disengaged from both of the ultimate uses that we saw. Millennium keep up that pressure. Lee Sin still nowhere near in a defensive position.
And he's moving down the route. He will come in on Youngboy though. They won't be able to pick up the kill, but they can at least try and force him back a little bit. The next wave coming in, if Amazing isn't there, they will take the turret. But at the same time, if you look at top lane, Kevin is recalling. If they manage to push it down, they can also take the tower top.
Well, RNA is actually coming to join them down on this bottom lane. They should be able to see Lee Sin coming through if he heads through that tri-bush, which currently is warded up, but RNA has already taken his position there. Curb just getting a pink ward into the top side of the river as well. So you have to feel with the positioning that we're seeing on the map here that we're going to see an attempt to defend by the Wolves and an attempt to push by Millennium.
Amazing is level 6, so they cannot dive this. I mean, he's too strong at this point. Level 5 on Aranea, he just backs off and leaves it at this. This does mean though that the top tower can actually go down.
Top tower, and if we look at it, it's very, very low. And funnily enough, we talked about how these 2v1 swaps are going to affect things, that the duo in the top lane were going to have a harder time to take it down, and in the end, it's the Wolves that get that.
But this is simply because of the way Aranea or Millennium has played with him this game. He went top rather late when they have already hit the turret a lot early game, and he didn't go into defend, he just went in for the kill as the only thing. This meant that Copenhagen Wolves could keep poking on the turret. Millennium, on the other hand, could barely poke the turret because of Amazing being there pretty much from the start, and he showed himself from the start to defend.
So with that first turret of the game down, let's have a look at some of the items here. We can see that Creaton actually just about ahead in the CS, 67 to 66. Not really been back to buy just yet. That single Doran's Blade in there for him. On the other side, Caitlyn in with a pickaxe and a Vamp Scepter and boots at this stage.
And Copenhagen Wolves can right now try and force Millennium's bot lane to stay so they won't go back and buy. This means they have a pickaxe and a Vamp Scepter over the Doran's Blade. So they will be able to dominate the lane and push it down and therefore save their own turret. And it's actually a win for Copenhagen Wolves.
Well, we can see that the recall's actually coming in from Creaton and J-Rin. That may just cost them here somewhat. Certainly going to cost them some damage onto that tower as we see Kautar coming back into this mid lane. He's going to have a couple of men to help him there, but that bottom tower is surely going to be the focus on this one. We can see that it's already taken a good chunk of damage, but not going to be able to put enough down to actually kill it off before Millennium's bot lane arrives again.
No, generally what Copenhagen Wolves could have done was keep Renekton there and then go for the Dragon if Millennium's bot lane recalled. But he didn't buy anything yet. He was like, he only had the Dawn Shield. You see, ulti coming in.
Yeah, there is the drop coming down, and Forgiven actually going to 90 caliber net into it, but it gets him further away from the hook, which is what he was aiming for. And that means that the Wolves stay alive on that bottom lane.
Aranea has been very active towards his bottom lane from Copenhagen Wolves. He constantly ganks them, he uses everything he has on them, and it's very smart, because right now Kerb is winning the mid lane by himself, and also Kevin is able to just farm and do whatever he does on Shen. So he puts all the focus on bot lane, and I like that move actually.
Speaking of Kerb and Kautar, they just had themselves a bit of an exchange as Youngbuck diving in here on towards Kevin, and Amazing coming across the side. There's the ward down. Oh, great flash from Kevin though. Amazing flashed in front of him to actually try and kick him back in towards his teammate. Great reactions from Kevin though.
Great from Kevin. They trade flash for flash. Sierra Near coming up right here. Kerb can actually move up as well as he shoved out the lane. He decides to recall though, and wise enough, Copenhagen Wolves also just backs off and leaves it at this.
Backing away from that one. That mid lane CS well in favor right now of Kerb as Millennium finally back into position to put more damage onto this turret that has managed to survive 10.5 minutes despite that 2v1 and the weaker tower, we can now safely say, in the bottom lane.
Yeah, but the important thing for me right here is that Creaton has picked up the BF sword. He had enough gold because he had to recall later than Forgiven had, so he could pick up the BF sword. And Copenhagen Wolves didn't punish them for recalling at all. So right now, really good point actually for Millennium, and they can pick up. Oh, can come in.
Oh, this could be bad. Creaton actually getting stunned up. They're going to go for J-Ree though. He's down to about half HP as the box comes in. Well, Creaton doing tons of damage over towards Unlimited. There's a good block of the ace in the hole from J-Ree. Kevin had come down to this bottom lane using Stan United to help them out. And again, another skirmish with no kills.
Very good defensive ultimate though from Kevin. Stopped everything going, and immediately as he ulted, Renekton moved from top lane down to mid to make sure that if Millennium wanted to go for a dragon, he was there to stop it.
Finally, we were talking about this during game number 2. That brush is a prime spot for pink wards that people seem to walk over or walk around a lot of the time, as Aranea going to get blasted here by Kautar. This is a 5-man Copenhagen Wolves push onto the dragon. The dragon actually resetting itself there, and that may just buy enough time for Millennium to, funnily enough, bring their support back into the mix here and have a 5 versus 5. It's Copenhagen Wolves that have backed straight away from it though.
Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves didn't know where the rest of Millennium were. They saw 3 people on the map. They thought there were more, so they didn't decide to go for the dragon. They could maybe actually have forced it down as they were 5v3, but when you don't have any vision, you don't really know it, and it's a lot easier for us to say it from here.
That is definitely true. No way, obviously, that they could fully know that one. Actually, Kevin is still on that bottom side, so Millennium may be able to turn this one around. There are no I tell a lie, there's one just sneaking there in the back of the Dragon Pit. So the Wolves know that this is happening, but if you look at the minimap, there's nothing that they can do.
Nothing they can do. The turret goes down as well. Very smart call by Millennium. The Siri Renekton returns to the top lane. Kevin just stayed around, and he just instantly went in for the dragon. They pick it up for free. Very nice play by Millennium.
Solid pick up today. 15, actually, it's more of a 20 CS lead for Kerb, if I can actually do any math, which, well, I can't. That's the problem, really. Having a nice little lead in that one. He's got that Brutalizer in there with a couple of Doran's Blades as well. On the other side, we can see that Kautar picked up that Seeker's Arm Guard. He needs that armor at this point to survive.
He needs the armor, definitely. Otherwise, he has to pretty much jump out every time Kerb does something to him. He will have nothing to do in the lane. He won't even be able to pick up CS. So the smart first buy by him. I'm not sure if he's going to go straight into the Sonias with it, or if he's going to build more, you know, into maybe Rod of Ages, or get more general normal items.
Here we see the drop coming in actually on top of the pink ward, and well, It wasn't much of a man drop, was it, in the end? He comes straight in there, and the Wolves just backing straight away from it. There we saw, as you said, Karma's help, speeding up her teammates to get away from that circle.
Aaron just wanted to hit the pink ward once and then run out. That's the only reason he halted right there.
If only the man drop could kill wards, he would have succeeded on that front. Blue buff actually going to be given over to Kerp here on Talon. Actually has to come over the wall to finish that one off. His rake not quite doing enough damage. And as you mentioned before, as that Dragon was done, the minions pushed down that turret there in the bottom lane. So actually we sit at 1-for-1 in terms of towers. There's a hook coming through from Jerry, which unfortunately for him doesn't connect. And we sit pretty much bang even on gold, as well as Kerp and Kautard again gonna get involved onto each other. Kautard here using that silence, which is the only thing that's giving him a brief respite from the damage that Kerp can do to him.
Yeah, I mean, Kerp obviously has the kill potential right here, but for him when it gets to team fights, due to the Karma shield and due to the safeguard from Lee Sin, he might actually not even be able to pick up anything, especially not right now when he doesn't have any kills at all, and he's actually not, you know, that strong at this point.
I just saw him waiting around the corner there, trying to bait Kautard a bit further up that lane so that he'd have a bit more time to work his magic. But as we saw before, he takes a silence, Kautard backs away, and they do a little bit of damage in the trade before that resets itself pretty much. And seems like that's going to be the continuing trend here for quite a while.
Now, Kautard is playing the lane really well though, but it's just a matter of time before Millennium wants to set something up with the Shen ultimate. They could potentially go in on Kautard in a bad trade and then Shen ultimate him and then win the whole trade and try and take down a turret. It doesn't seem like, oh wow, nice gank.
Yeah, that was a big flash in there from that one. Kautard going very, very low. He is ticking down, and it is Kerp that picks up the kill. That must have been very close to the last tick, if not the last tick of it, but that's what Millennium have been looking for quite a while now.
But that was such a good gank. First the stun come in from Aranea, he has to flash for it, and then the silence come in from Kerp and the ignite, and they can pick up the kill. Nice play by Millennium.
However, the Wolves starting to gather up a little bit here in that mid lane. Millennium coming in from the backside. There's a pink ward there that actually Jerry will walk over the top of, and he's left himself in a little bit of no man's land for this one. Amazing going to come in around the side, will land the Q onto him. There's a flash in front to kick him back. Jerry here going to get hit by the ace in the hole all the way from the backside there by Forgiven. That will be his first kill, but honestly you have to say that Jerry was just completely in no man's land there.
He was completely out of position, and Copenhagen Wolves instantly punish it. They want to try now and take down the mid turret for this. I'm not sure if they can actually, because Kevin has ultimate.
Kevin has ultimate, Aranea has his ultimate as well to drop in on top of them, but they've got all 5 men. There is the drop coming in from Aranea, the turret actually going very low. Looks like they might try and stay and finish this one off. Aranea actually going to fall there. The turret does go down. Forgiven going to be focused on, but he's managed to back away. Ignite finishes him off, and now it's 4 versus 2. Not super healthy, but with Kautard able to chase down here, they might be able to do it. Creaton actually flashing in there very aggressively. He actually picks up his barrier. There is the lantern as well, and that was a crazy exchange in mid that leaves us at 2 for 2, and the tower went down.
Such a crazy fight. They were actually tanking the turret, Copenhagen Wolves, when it started, and Youngbuck took it down during the fight, and still they went 2 for 2. We saw, look at the man drop coming in right here. The tower is still up, and Youngbuck keeps hitting it. Focus on Amazing is a bit weird for Aranea. He should have jumped on Forgiven together with Kerp, and also the taunt from Kevin should have been on Forgiven. They expected Kerp to be able to take down Forgiven alone, but due to the shields, due to the barrier, and due to safeguard, he actually only managed to pick him up in the end and die for it. If everyone had jumped Forgiven instantly, I think they would have won the fight a lot easier.
Look at this. This is a moment where Creaton actually flashes in to finish off Youngbuck, which obviously left him a little bit out of position there, but still had barrier calculated, and there's a lantern as well from Jerry in the nick of time to bring him out.
Creaton simply knew how much damage he had and how much damage he could take at this point. Smart play by him. He did have to flash for it, yes, but at the same time he picks up a much needed kill.
Now, what is the next move in this one? Dragon comes up in less than a minute's time. Last time around was this weird positional play where the Wolves went in there and then backed away because they didn't know where Millennium were, and then they recalled, and Millennium basically took that Dragon for free afterwards, which, you know, they should have the timing on it. They did have a ward in the back there, so we're expecting half a minute's time that they're going to start stacking up again.
I think we're definitely going to see a 5v5 fight. Who's going to win it right now? They're so even. They're very even in gold. The team fights, or the team fight combos at this point are very even. It's just pretty much going to be a matter of who can burst down the first target.
Oh, and speaking of burst, Creaton down to half HP there without realizing what hit him, I think. I don't think he expected quite so much damage to come his way, but with all those men down there, Youngbuck actually diving in aggressive. This is a 4v1 until the rest of the team finally get involved, but Youngbuck is going to fall before anything really happens. Kevin has come down as well. Now the chase goes on towards Unlimited. Kevin's taunt's going to be up here in just a second. Lands it perfectly to pick up the double kill as well, and that sets up Millennium now in a 5v3 for Dragon.
Youngbuck was way too greedy right here. He wanted to go in and try and stall the whole Dragon. He got too close, he got picked up by Millennium, and they take an easy kill on him, then on Unlimited, and now they can actually pick up a free Dragon.
And Amazing's Q not quite having the range there to hit either the Dragon or someone inside of the Dragon Pit. Obviously, may have tried for the steal there if that would have been the case, but it wasn't. Millennium pick it up, and they have now a 400 gold lead. Very slim lead at this point.
Look at the build on Kerb. Full armor penetration. He will be able to do a lot of damage on just Youngbuck or Amazing. So if one of them overextends, a bit like we saw just before, they can instantly focus down this target and maybe kill him.
This is a bit of an ambush squad set up by the Copenhagen Wolves, and Aranea is just going to walk straight into this one. It's a lot of damage, but Stan United actually used. There's the kickback, but the hook landing on towards Amazing. They're going straight in. This is now a 4v1 because Countard has left. Millennium pick up a kill for free.
Such a great hook by Jerry right here. He predicts the safeguard into the ward and he just, boom, fires the hooks, lands, take another kill. Copenhagen Wolves is trying to make plays across the map, but Millennium is just responding every time.
Shutting them down so far. And Millennium got a busy schedule this week. Demon mentioned it earlier that they're off to Brazil for the Intel Extreme Masters, and the fact is that they need wins at this point of the season now. They said that it's all about how you finish and not how you start, but this could leave them 1 for 5 if they lose this game and 1 for 6 by the end of the weekend. And this game right here, they're probably factoring in as a win when they look at their grand scheme of things. Right now, they're all set up outside of that middle turret, which is at less than half HP.
This is a big issue for Copenhagen Wolves though, because the laning phase ended earlier than they wanted it to. Look at Kassadin's items. He has no damage right now. He needs at least 10-15 minutes of farming before he really becomes the strong Kassadin we know. So right now, if Millennium keeps forcing things, they can actually just pretty much shut down him completely.
Wolves actually going for a bit of a look on the red buff. That's already gone though. Aranea having that one away with his smite before the Wolves could get in there and do anything about it. They're trying to keep this mid lane pushed up at least past that halfway point. And we talked about Kassadin. One thing that we didn't really touch on is the fact that Countard is running teleport at this point, which means that he can head off into those side lanes and push and farm a little bit more.
He can go into the side lanes, but it's very risky versus this combo. There's both the Shen teleport coming in, there's also the man drop from Aranea. You never know where he is in his own jungle, and even though you have your jump with Kassadin, it might not be enough to actually escape a 2-man gang squad. Especially not right now when he's actually kind of squishy.
Rod of Ages in there for him, with the Seeker's arm guard on top. Both Youngbuck and Kevin have those Sunfire capes done, and unsurprisingly Kevin headed up towards that Spirit Visage, as I'm sure Youngbuck will be at some point in the near future as well. Meanwhile, Forgiven here being given that red buff. He's already got his Bloodthirster and that Last Whisper.
Now, the game plan for Millennium must be to try and catch out Countard or Forgiven if they're pushing in different lanes. They don't really have a siege combo. You can't do pretty much any sieging with both Shen and with your Talon. So they need to catch someone out, but they also need to do it because the longer this game will go, the stronger Copenhagen Wolves will be.
Just thought the fact that Kevin was in mid lane all on his own. He got kind of sandwiched from both sides, but not taking too much damage at this stage of things. And we said in the pre-game, he loves these pure tanks. This Shen, perfect for him. He's been landing a lot of taunts in the last 2 games that we've seen him playing on that one. But just one missed taunt, I suppose, can cost you the game in the end, as we are going to see a hook landing onto a minion. Not the ideal target, but as I said before, that turret pretty low there. Kevin nicely blocking the ace in the hole.
Yeah, Millennium decides to actually just try and brute force down this turret because it is so low. They're very near ready. He can jump in at any moment, but right now, Countard has his TP, and they know this, so they're a bit scared.
Oh, they managed to hook in Amazing, but he didn't take enough damage for them to think about going straight on top of it. And actually, Aranea, who we saw him waiting pretty much where Kerp is stood right now on the map, that's obviously so he can just drop straight in there. He went in to join the team, ended up dying, but look at this, Countard pushing that lane out.
Yeah, this is a giant issue for Millennium. They can't siege, they want to try and take down this turret. We see Mandrop coming in the mid lane, do we?
Yes, we do. There it is, and it's RNA right on top of them. The hook not actually landing in there, but Unlimited being hammered away on by Kurt. This is surely a dead man, and it will be. And what can they get on towards the backside? Forgiven is hammering away on them right now. They need to deal with him. There was a rake coming in, but Jerry's going to fall. I feel RNA is going to suffer the same consequences here as well. Somehow getting towards the back there, but look at Forgiven. He's still alive, actually, and that will be an ace for the Copenhagen Wolves. An absolute mess of a fight.
Fantastic team fight though from Copenhagen Wolves. Kautar teleports in behind and he does instantly goes on Kraton. At the same time, Kerb goes for Unlimited. The support shuts him down. That doesn't really do anything for Copenhagen Wolves at this point. So the fact that Kautar can come in untouched from behind and just start cleaning up is amazing.
Yeah, we can see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen there, a slight replay of the man drop code in. There we go, full screen gloriness.
And notice Kerb right here, he's full focus on Unlimited. He even uses ultimate while Kautar comes in from the back. At this point though, ultimate is gone from Kerb. His damage is pretty much gone right now. Forgiven can actually 1v1 him down here in the bottom lane. And meanwhile, Kassadin is just doing whatever he wants and whatever Kassadin does best.
Mopping up the fight from that one. And an ace coming in. And if you look at the minimap right now, pretty sure the inhibitor actually did go down in that one. Yes, it did. A ward was dropped straight on top of where it used to be. So just like that, a game which was very much back and forth and tense. Are we going to fight action in the mid lane? It's an ace for the Copenhagen Wolves, and all of a sudden that inhibitor's gone.
But this is what we talked about before the game. Millennium's team fights are not good enough. This was a perfect example. They were ahead, they had the better combo at the moment, but when you put all your focus on the support, yes, you do manage to kill him, but what are you going to do about the rest? Generally, not good enough team fight by Millennium.
I'm going to need to step that up, which obviously after being ace is now even harder. As Kautar here may just get himself caught out. There's the dive on towards him, and he's going to rift walk away, but the slow already down. There's the Lantern to help out. He's used the Zhonya's, but I don't think that's going to save him. Or will it? Rift walk at the very second he comes out of it will get him off to safety. Kraton actually catching the ace in the hole. Dragon, of course, is up. There are 4 men there for Millennium. We see actually Shen is recalling. He's got his ulti, and the red team will be picking up the Dragon Millennium, of course.
Good decision though by Copenhagen Wolves to not try and fight for this. Cuddles was back. Are they actually chasing this one?
I'm not sure about that one. RNA, you know, he's not incredibly tanky. Amazing could probably just finish him off from this one. He's going to get caught out completely at that point. Finished off, and Amazing's not done here. He's going to try and get onto J-Ree. He's got the slowdown onto him. The slow coming in from Karma as well, and will they be able to finish it off? No, they won't, but they've pushed them straight back into their base once again, and the Wolves can now back off with freedom.
I'm one big question mark right now. There was ultimate on Kevin. There were 5 people around. They did nothing to try and help him. And 4 people of Copenhagen Wolves with the recalled Kassadin could just do whatever they want and pick up a free kill. Millennium right now is falling apart. It was a good attempt down bot lane though. They did land a silence on the Kassadin trying to kill him. But due to the Zhonya's and the fact he's... actually kept going in.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of them all, and he's not as invisible as he thinks there. Kautar will be picking up that kill, and that's a lot of damage now gone down. This turret is just going to be left for the Wolves as Millennium lose another one here, this time in the top lane, and I'm not sure that the Wolves are ready to stop this one.
It seems like Millennium is just trying to do solo plays. You just want to... Someone has to step up and try and carry this game. They don't have any coordination. Again, they had Shen ultimate. They didn't use it for anything. Maybe they are slightly giving up.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it. I mean, RNA are caught in the jungle there. I want to touch on his build for a second because you can see he's pretty much all damage at this point. They're obviously relying on Shen to be the tanky one, but we can see that's not really working out for them.
I mean, the idea behind this build is that him and Kerb will jump in on the same target and instant burst it down, but they haven't been doing that in teamfighting except for the one on Unlimited.
And look at this, they're on the tower right now, the Copenhagen Wolves. They take a lot of damage, and actually Youngbuck will go down after picking up that turret, but there is the talisman actually going to be used, and they will just recall to safety. I mean, they got the turret, they've lost 1 man, but generally that's a good trade-off.
It's a fine trade-off for Copenhagen Wolves. They have an open inhib now. They can go up, force a 5v5, and just try and take the inhib afterwards. Or they can simply just try and go for the Baron and then finish the game afterwards.
Funny thing, and the Nexus turrets had already taken a bit of damage there as well from those super minions starting to stream into things. And it's funny, I mean, Millennium, we said it before, their whole team fighting combo has not really worked out for them in many games so far in the LCS. And to have such a very much cut and dry, I guess we can call it here. The fact that you have to land the perfect drop from the sky out of Aranea, you have to land a good taunt, and you're stand united on the right person from Kevin. That's really not helping them this time around when they can't do that.
No, you're definitely right. I mean, Millennium has a very coordinated combo here.
Yeah.
They need to go on the same targets. They need to everyone move in at the same time. Copenhagen Wolves, on the other hand, just has a very loose combo. They can do pretty much what they want. They don't have to like single target down a target because they have so much sustained damage, and Renekton can tank so much damage as well, together with Amazing. But Millennium, it's a team without too much teamfight coordination, playing a very coordination-heavy combo. It is probably one of the reasons they lose.
And the fact is, if your head starts to drop, your coordination just becomes worse. Just a matter of fact, that one. And their backs are certainly against the walls this time around. They're 4,000 gold behind, 7-1 in turrets. A big, big difference on that front. Of course, two of them and three of them really coming from the back of that last ace, and that's not going to be the last one either, as Youngbuck just dives in there, throws down a ward, and gets himself back out. Kautard, in the meantime, pushing down onto this bottom lane.
Yeah, you see Kerb actually going in on Kautard. Can he try and pick up the kill?
Yeah, the thing is, Kerb's down to less than half health with that one. Obviously, we did see the ace in the hole come in, the Q from Amazing just flashing by there, and this turret now less than half HP. Can they finish it off with this wave? Amazing actually tanking it up. They've got Youngbuck to tank it. The next wave of minions actually is headed up there right now as well. Looks like they may even try and get it on towards Aranea. He's down to less than half HP. Takes the Lantern though back to safety.
They did get the Shen ultimate popped, and they still teleport on Kautard. They will just keep doing this, or they won't go for the Baron. And if Millennium comes out to try and stop them, they'll be more than happy to fight. Shen has no ultimate, and at the same time, Aranea is very squishy, and every time he jumps in, they can just kill him.
No turrets left outside of the base of Millennium. That's 8 down for the Copenhagen Wolves. 5,000 gold lead. We see a couple of men just going to be recalling in from this one. You talked about Kautard, how the laning phase maybe ended a little bit too early for him, but if you look down his items now, the Zonya's in there, that Rod of Ages had its time to get going, another Blasting Wand as well. He's slowly but surely getting into a position where you just don't want to face him.
Exactly. I mean, Millennium had the perfect point of the game where they actually were teamfighting in mid lane, but due to a very bad teamfight, Kautard got in. Even though he didn't have too much damage, they still managed to win it. And Youngbuck actually face-checking.
Yeah, he is literally on his own right now, going in towards Creator and popping his ultimate. The rest of his team finally getting in behind him, and I tell you what, Millennium needs to react to this one quickly. That inhibitor did just respawn, but the entire Copenhagen Wolves team have come up. We're going to see Kurt maybe coming in from the backside. A hook lands, but it lands onto Youngbuck. Here comes the man drop, but who will it hit? Youngbuck, I think, is the only one really affected by that one. Kurt has dove on towards Forgiven, but he will be picked off in the end by Kautard, and now surely just a matter of time. Unlimited falls low. That's a good hook on towards Forgiven at the back, but he manages to stay alive for so ridiculously long. Kautard using that Zonya's, and funnily enough, Millennium slowly but surely coming out on top in that fight. We can see that Kritzon's chasing them down, but needs to be careful from this one. I don't think that he's going to get Amazing, but Unlimited maybe a different story. The speed boost coming in. Kritzon might be able to dash out there and have a go in just a second, but the chase won't be enough for him in the end. Another messy fight, I'd say.
Two things we can take from this. Millennium has no coordination together with Kerb. Kerb once again jumps on Forgiven. Nobody follows. There's no Shen following in for the taunt. Oh, Amazing actually trying to steal.
Aaron here actually got that one in the end. Amazing though, able to just safeguard out to the ward on the backside.
But back to the fight. Nobody follows Kerb on Forgiven, so Kerb actually dies because Copenhagen was just backs out immediately. We're gonna see it right here. Notice Kerb down in the bottom of your screen. He flashes over, jumps. Nobody follows him. There's no Shen, no Pantheon. But due to Youngbuck having no ultimate, he dies really fast in this, and then Kreaton can actually come in and join the fight now and start doing damage to everyone. So due to Youngbuck no ultimate, he wasted it a little bit on Kreaton earlier. They actually lose this fight, otherwise they would have won it fairly simple.
It was a good, I think, 3 men knocked up by the kick of Amazing there, but he's obviously not really got the damage to be following up on the likes of Kevin, that's for sure, who's got low in that one. So a bit of a respite here, I think, for Millennium now after winning that little team fight. We'll see exactly how much time it gives them, and more importantly, what they can actually do with that time now after that fight.
They're obviously just going to try and farm a bit more. We see the Randuin's almost being complete on Aranea. Once he has that, he can actually start tanking a little bit. But until, like, right now, he's basically just jumps in, do some damage, and then die. That's like the whole idea of him right now until he finishes some more items. Copenhagen Wolves now, they want this Baron.
Baron Pit has been cleared out from their side of things as I think a pink ward sat at the front of it from the Copenhagen Wolves team, and Millennium trying to get one over the side of things. You see the pings coming down there from the Wolves as they instruct Unlimited or Youngbuck to go back there and start clearing those out. Millennium, in the meantime, just making sure that these super minion waves aren't going to be pushing too far up into their base.
So, if we look a little bit on general AD carry items, Creaton actually is only one, I mean, not only one, I was about to say, I just noticed the pickaxe. So, Forgiven is going to complete his Infinity Edge very soon. Creaton, pretty far away. Next team fight, if there's an Infinity Edge on Forgiven, Curb is going to die even faster. And then the rest of the team is going to die afterwards. Unless they manage to pile up and actually kill Forgiven instantly.
Which they've taken their time on in that last fight. They did kill him, but the fight before that, he actually got away as the ace in the hole comes through. No one blocking that one. Kevin just needed to sidestep and get in there. Creaton going incredibly low. Kerp actually going with his ultimate, and the rest of the team, Kevin, going to get caught out. We'll see exactly how tanky he is in this one as Youngbuck gets in there to the front. All the damage piling now onto Iron Air at the back. He's going to be falling down. 3 kills straight away. This surely is going to be game for the Copenhagen Wolves. Kautar dives onto Kerp. That's an easy kill, blown to pieces. And now only Jay Reed stands between the Wolves and a victory.
The only thing Millennium did this fight was run away. The Copenhagen Wolves catched them out. Great engage actually coming in from both Kautar and also the ulti from Forgiven, hitting Creaton. He was so low, he couldn't stay on fight. This one is going to be the win for Copenhagen Wolves.
Solid victory there for the Copenhagen Wolves, and Millennium's run, he continues here. Now 1 for 5, not looking strong at this point, but the Wolves, you know, they've been battling with, I don't want to call them demons of their own, but problems of their own here, where, you know, they've had a good game and they've won, then they've, well, in the SK game, they've had a good game for most of it, and then they've ended up losing. And it seems like a few things have changed this time around. There's the trademark howl from the Wolves as well to signal another win.
I have to say, though, this was a very weird game for me. There were so many times in this game where people did uncoordinated things, especially Millennium jumped in a lot alone, just pretty much died. They didn't really try to help each other. It seemed like the communication pretty much died after they fell behind with the team fight in mid lane. At the same time, also, the engage from Youngbuck maybe got a bit too over greedy, the one we saw before the fight with the inhib, where he used his ultimate and everything. I think he even flashed in and didn't actually do anything because there was a lantern to save Creaton. So, all in all, to take from this one, good play by Copenhagen Wolves, very strong team fight, but the issues for Millennium, they remain. They don't know how to team fight.
And they've still got more games to play this weekend, or more game to play, I guess we should say, tomorrow in their final one. And guys, remember, you can let us know what you think were the biggest plays of that game by tweeting @LolEsports and using the hashtag LCS_BigPlays. For you in that one, anything that stands out?
I mean, we have to look at the team fight in mid lane for Copenhagen Wolves, where they pick up the ace. It wasn't exactly big plays by someone itself, but just the team in general. It was a very strong team fight. Very good TP from Kautar coming in from behind, picking up the kills. We saw Youngbuck amazing, tanking all the damage, and at the same time, Forgiven managed to kill Kerb 1v1 after Unlimited died.
A question for you: how do you improve your communication and your calls? That's surely just by scrimming and, you know, listening back even to what you said to each other during a game, having the recording and that, and being able to analyze what went wrong for you in your communication.
I mean, obviously, you have to listen to everything, like every game you have to listen to the calls. But for Millennium right here, I don't think it's too much about the call itself. I think it's people's mindset. Everyone is not on the same page. Like, one guy wants to go on this guy, the other guy thinks this one is better to go for. And even though they have a combo designed to jump on the backline and instant kill the target, they don't all follow this one. I mean, so I think they need to go back, and everyone has to look at themselves in this game, especially, you know, the 3 people who had to dive, Ernir, Kevin, and Kerb, and say, we didn't do our job. And if we pick a combo like this again, we need to have this sorted.
Well, we'll find out if they can fix that for next time around. It's time for us to recall to base, guys. Well, when we come back, Shox will be speaking to Amazing from the Copenhagen Wolves. And then it's a battle between SK Gaming and Gambit, as we sit down with Gambit's Diamond to find out how this all-star jungler decides what champions he's going to be playing next.
How many champions I've tried out? Maybe 40. Sometimes it's only one game when you understand that this champion sucks. Sometimes if champion is hard, or if there is a lot of options to play him, then it could take a lot from 2 games to a lot of games to understand is he good or not. For example, the Evelynn, after her nerf 1 year ago, everyone thought that she's useless, but no one just knew how to play her. And when people realized, I think I was one of them, one of the first guys who realized that Evelynn is really good if you're using AP and AD Maestrances and runes. Then the champion became absolutely OP.